I will just start sharing my screen. Just give me a moment and then we can get started. Uh,
Sure.
okay, are you able to hear Smita?
Yes. Hi, Smita.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, Smita.
Okay, so yeah, we are all set. Yeah,
This
we can
okay
just
then.
get started
Then I will
anytime.
just introduce and then please, okay, I will hand over.
Sure, 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 sure. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining for Data Analytic Group and Data and AI Virtual Session Volume 2. And whoever joined from other locations, good afternoon, good evening. And today's event is a full day event, and please respectful for the speakers. And if you have any questions, please post it on the chat so that we will take the queries, and then we will hand it over to the speakers. And today's session, the first session, is a global speakers. No introduction is not at all required. Nanddeep Nachan and Smita Nachan. They are 6 times Microsoft MVP, and Smita is 5 times Microsoft MVP on M365 and AA platforms. And Nanddeep Nachan, coming to the Nanddeep Nachan, he's a Microsoft certified trainer, and he's a fully blogger as well as the author for multiple books on Microsoft 365. And coming to the Smita, she is also an author, speaker, organizer, and acted as an architect in organizations. And today's topic, the first topic, building agents with Microsoft 365 software development kit. So Nanddeep, Smita, I'm handing over the stage. So first session, I'm very happy to be, introduce yourself in even in the Delay Tech community group and in our data analytic group. Thank you so much for joining here, and stage is yours.
All right. Thank you very much for inviting us. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity and having us at the first lot. Okay. Hopefully my screen is visible.
Yes,
Maybe I will
yes,
turn off my video after some time
sure.
because I'm facing some network lag. But okay. So with that, hello everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today, and welcome to this session, Data and AI Virtual Season Volume 2. And hopefully, you will gain more and more kind of a knowledge from this kind of a session. All right, so quickly, to talk about the session that we have got today, we will be discussing about exploring the Microsoft 365 Agents SDK, and we'll talk about something that is going to change the way we think about building the solutions inside Microsoft 365. That is the Agents SDK. So this is kind of an SDK which opens up the entirely new world for developers to create intelligent, context-aware, and deeply integrated workflows inside your Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So just to set the stage for this session, so for many years, Microsoft 365 has given us tools like SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, Outlook, even Power Platform to organize our work, collaborate, and automate the processes. But the way that we have been automating so far has been often been rule based and static. So that means you create flows, write codes, or even configure apps, and they follow predefined kind of steps. But now that imagine if our apps and workflows could act more like an intelligent assistant so that they can understand the context, take the initiative, and adopt to the user's need. Okay, so that is exactly what Microsoft 365 Agent SDK has been designed for, which allows us to move from simple automation to adaptive intelligence with the flow of our work. Okay, so this is what session that we have got. Before we start the session, quick introduction. Myself, Nanddeep Nazan. I'm Microsoft MVP as well as Microsoft certified trainer. Belongs to Pune, India, and author of these three books, including SharePoint Framework, SharePoint Hybrid, and Viva Connections. And recently, I have launched a Udemy course on SharePoint Framework as well. And onto the right hand side, here are a few of my social media handles. If in case you want to have more discussions related to this topic or in general, please go ahead and let's connect. All right. So with me today is Smita.
Hello, all. Myself Smita Nachan. I am from Pune, India. I am having total 17 years of experience in Microsoft technology. Currently, I am working as a M365 architect. I am a Microsoft MVP and I am author of these two books. And these are some of my social handlers by which you can get in touch with me.
All right, so with that introduction, let's get into the agenda. So what we are going to talk about today is like we will get introduced to Microsoft 365 Agent SDK, which is kind of an developer toolkit which lets you to build your custom agents that can interact with Microsoft 365 services, for example, Teams, Outlook, SharePoint, and many more. Even not just that, with this Microsoft 365 Agent SDK, you can leverage the AI capabilities like natural language understanding as well as reasoning to create the experiences that feel conversational as well as the intuitive. Then we will see like how we can connect to the external systems as well. So the agent can fetch or update data outside Microsoft 365 while keeping everything integrated in one place. And then we will also see like how we can embed the intelligence into the workflows. So the solution, they just don't follow the steps, but they make a decision, offer suggestions, and then automate end-to-end kind of an scenarios. So like traditionally, like we have seen like the automation in Microsoft 65 is about like if this, then do that. Okay, but with Agents SDK, we step into the new era. For example, context-aware workflows, wherein agent can understand what the user is doing and provide the right action at the right time. It can also do the natural language interaction. So instead of navigating through various menus or maybe clicking through forms, user can simply express what they want in a plain language, and agent can do that. It also gives the integrated kind of an experience wherein agent live inside Microsoft 365, maybe Teams or Outlook. So user don't need to switch the context to get the things done. So now that, for example, if you want to get the information from external system, let's say ServiceNow, or maybe any of the other system that you have got, or even from SQL Server, you don't have to log out of Microsoft Teams, go into the SQL Server or ServiceNow to get the information. Right inside where you are working from, whether it is Microsoft Teams or even Outlook or even SharePoint, you will be able to get that information. So we will understand the core architecture of this Microsoft 365 Agent SDK, as well as what are the components involved in that. And then we will build some intelligent agents with the SDK. Okay, so we will try to have it as a demo oriented session as well. Then we will discuss out few of the development processes and tools which can be used here. And then lastly, we will also give you some kind of an use cases and best practices, so that you can follow up that. Okay, so with that, let's get started with having an introduction to Microsoft 365 Agent SDK.
So when we talk about this Microsoft 365, we usually think that of tools like Teams, Outlook, SharePoint, and Office apps that helps the people to collaborate and get this work done. So over the time, these tools have become more intelligent with the AI features like Microsoft Copilot. But now with Microsoft 365 Agents SDK, developers have the more power to go beyond the out of the box features and build their own intelligent agents that fit their organization's unique needs. So, what is exactly this Microsoft 365 Agents SDK? So, the Microsoft 365 Agents SDK is a developer toolkit designed to help us to create the intelligent task oriented agents that live and work inside Microsoft 365. So these agents can listen, understand, and respond in natural language. They can act on data from across Microsoft 365 like a Team chat, Outlook calendar, or SharePoint content. So they can also connect to the external systems, bringing in the data from the CRM, ticketing system, or any other business app. So in short, it's a bridge that allows the developers to inject that intelligence and automation directly into the flow of work. So with that, let's go ahead and let's see what this exactly this Microsoft 365 agents SDK, how it's useful. So it's a developer toolkit for building the intelligent task oriented assistants that's work natively inside a Microsoft 365. So these assistants can understand the natural language, the reason about the user intent, act on a Microsoft 365 data via Microsoft Graph and connect to your business system. So people can get the work done without hopping between the apps. So let's see, the first one is the developer framework. So what you actually get. So the core building blocks contains over here like agents runtime. So it handles the conversational turns, tools or the functional calling, planning and error handling. The tools and the skills model a simple way to expose the actions that the agent can take. Let's say, for example, create the planner task, pull the CRM order, or post the Teams message. And each tool has a schema, parameter, as well as the permissions. So for the context and grounding, it's also the helpful, like for example, let's say the help us to inject the graph data, for example, email, files, meeting, users and sites to the agent answers with the right oriented context. And then it's the second thing, for this typical developer workflow, it defines the agent goals also. So, like a system instruction, allowed tools, then registering an app in an intra ID, the graph permission, graph scope, and the configures this secret, add the tools or the skills. For example, graph calls, REST API, Azure function, Dataverse, and many more things. So you can just test it locally also with this unit test and these other things also, and its evaluation prompts and the edge cases test also. So the second thing is the intelligent agents. So what they can do actually, so it's a natural language to action, so understand the request like summarizing this thread and create follow-ups for the owners by Friday, for example. Then they plan the steps, call the right tools, and confirm when needed and complete the work. It's also having this context aware interaction, so sees the user's availability, related files, participants, or the team context, and tailor the responses. There are some of the automation pattern, conversational assistance, so chats in a Teams or the Outlooks and executes this task. Then the proactive notifier, which watches the signal, for example, overdue tasks. Then we have a meeting co-pilots that prepares the agenda, monitors the action during this meeting. Then the document companion, which draft, revise, labels, and files a document based on the policies and metadata. Let's say, for example, end-to-end flow. For example, user is kickoff onboarding for Priya to joining the project Titan team next Monday. So the agent checks the HR system for the new hire record, creates a team channels, adds the Priya to relevant Microsoft 365 groups, schedules the introduction meetings, provide a planner board, post a status summary with the links and the due dates, asking for the final confirmation. The third thing is a Microsoft 365 ecosystem where it lights up. So deep graph integration, read write across the email, calendar file, SharePoint, Teams, Planner, Loop, To Do, and more. For the security and compliance inbuilt, it runs under your tenant policy, so data does not leave the approved boundaries. Its extensibility, so it's connect to the line of business systems like a CRM, ERP via the REST, graph connectors, or the Power Platform, and combine with the Power Automate for the long running workflows or human approvals. Also, you can use this Copilot Studio or a semantic kernel pattern if you refer declarative or hybrid orchestration. So, with that, let's go ahead and we can just see for the next one what is the purpose and the key features for that one.
All right, so now that let me just show you this documentation which is available from Microsoft onto the Microsoft 365 Agent SDK. So here you can see that we have got extensibility. So the point that you can see here, we can have the Microsoft 365 Copilot extensibility. What we can do with this kind of an agent toolkit is firstly we can have a declarative agents. Okay, so declarative term is pretty much important here because as I said earlier, like so far we have been just using the if else kind of a condition, or maybe we were driving like how we want particular action to be taken if this is the condition and all those things. But now that we are no more doing those kind of an coding things or maybe logic things, we just rely onto the LLM to get the things done for us. Okay, so that is what is called as a declarative, wherein we just declare what we want to do, but we do not specify like how we want to get it done. We just say like, okay, do this thing, but we don't specify how this should be done. We leave that how part to LLM. Okay, then we have got the custom engine agents which we are going to show you now, and again we do have the Copilot connectors as well. Okay, so these are the things that we have got. And again, from the extensibility point of view, this can be accessed everywhere, including Teams, Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and everywhere. Now that, for example, based on what kind of a technology frameworks that you are using, you do have support for everything. Okay, so for example, if you are developing your apps into the Visual Studio Code, then yes, we do have support for that as well. This supports creating the agents using Visual Studio Code, as well as, for example, if you are developing your agents with Visual Studio, even we do have that support. Okay, so you will be able to use that. Okay, so with that, let me simply go into the demo and show you like how these things work. Okay, so all right, okay. Okay, so let me just open up one of the SharePoint site. This is just for the demonstration purpose, but what I'm going to do is I will open up the Visual Studio Code. Now that again, for example, if you want to use Python or even you want to just simply do the PowerShell script coding, that is possible as well. But from the developer point of view, I'm just going to show you like how easily you will be able to create the things. Okay, so just give me one moment. Let me just create a folder here called as demo, and then we will start working inside of this demo folder. All right. Okay. So firstly now, the thing is we want to get the agents working for us. So this is kind of an framework which is available as an extension. So once you go into the extensions, we do have something called as a Microsoft 365 agents toolkit. So even you can just search for agents toolkit and you should be able to find it out. I already have it installed, which you can see onto the left rail of my Visual Studio. But this is the Microsoft 365 agents toolkit, which will help you to create even though, for example, if you just see it as from the perspective of Microsoft 365, but again, you can extend beyond that as well. Earlier, this was specifically known to be as the Teams toolkit, but now that it is broadening up the narrative and then it is being used across entire Microsoft 365. So that's the reason after the last the build event which has just happened couple of or maybe during March, this has been entirely redesigned to Microsoft 365 Agent SDK. So once you have it installed, this is how it will look. And from here, you will be able to build your agent. Okay, so we will go into the very simple app first, and then we will see how even you can integrate the uh, AI Foundry and everything with this. So from here, you can see that we can create declarative agent, we can create app or agent, or even we can see the samples which are available from the community. And again, we can create an app with GitHub Copilot as well. Okay, so let us go ahead and try to build the declarative agent. So once you go for creation of the declaration agent, this is the information that you get. So probably you can read out from all of the documentation which is available, so you can get introduced to what is declarative agent. This is the documentation which will help you for setting up your environment. And most important thing here is like you will need Microsoft 365 Copilot license. Okay, because everything is depending on that for declarative agent. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just try to create a new agent. So once I click create new agent, at the top here you can see we do have declarative agent. So declarative agents, these are the agents for Microsoft 365 Copilot. So that's the reason you will need Microsoft 365 Copilot license. After that, even we will go for creating the custom engine agents, wherein we can bring the power of LLM. We will orchestrate and we will give the responses from LLM. Okay, but to start with, we will keep it pretty much simple and we will go with the declarative agent. When we have a declarative agent, again, we can have an option like no action. If in case we want the agent to have some kind of an action, we can do that. So that means it can go ahead perform some CRUD kind of an operations onto the external system. Even we can have a Copilot connectors. And then again, there is a type spec which are right now available still in preview. So we can create a declarative agents with that. Again, to keep it simple, we will start with no action. I'm going to browse to the same folder where we are running this demo. All right. And then we are going to maybe call it as a history agent. Okay. So not sure like, or maybe let's say maths agent. Okay. So I know Saturday morning and then probably you must be interested to have some maths done. So we will create a maths agent. Okay. All right. So now that this is the agent that we have got, and believe me, like our agent is ready. Okay, so means we have not written any code, but that is the beauty of having the declarative agent. But okay, so let us go through this solution which has been generated. So here you can see we do have environment file wherein probably even you can ignore that if in case you do not want to make any changes here. We do have this YAML file. For example, whenever you will build this solution and whenever you will try to provision this solution into the Microsoft Teams, you can use that. The most important part of this agent is into this app package. So here you can see a couple of images. So this is the image which will be shown to your users when they will see the agent. Now that here we have got something called as declarative agent.json. Okay, so this is kind of an file which instruct Microsoft 365 Copilot as well as to Microsoft Teams engine to see this is coming as an agent. Okay, so and again we can give some kind of a good description, because so far we have been ignoring the description part. So whenever there is a field called as description, we just type maybe 10-15 characters to get across the validation part of that description. But now that we are into the world wherein we are creating the a dependent kind of an agent, so that means one agent can call another agent. So that's the reason to locate the other agent. The agent should be self-explanatory, like what are the capabilities that it can do. So that's the reason it is good that you mention a good description. Okay, so probably you can say like uh, okay, I can take a help of GitHub Copilot here. So GitHub Copilot is suggesting me like an agent that can help with mathematical calculations and problem solving. Okay, so we'll go ahead with that description. Now that we are not going to write a code for this, like for example, if it is a plus, then maybe accept 2 digits from a user, add them, give them back. For example, if it is a multiplication, again accept 2 digits, and all those things. We are not going to do that. We are going to stick to the declarative approach. So from means at least where we can have those declarations. So that declarations comes into this instruction file. Okay, so here you can see that we have got this instruction txt. So let us open up that instruction txt. So here you can see like there is some information that we have got here, but probably let's get rid of this information. So here we will say like just give me a moment. Okay, so we will start with you are a mathematics agent who helps users to perform quick maths operations. Um, give them a quiz like filling, ask questions, and um, give suggestions. Okay, so this is kind of a prompt that we are giving. Okay, so that's it. And then again we have got this manifest JSON. So this one, Miss, don't worry about the entire manifest that we have got here. This manifest has been designed on top of version 1.22. So even for example, if you have got version 1.19, you should be able to extend your manifest to support the declarative agent. So this is just the deployment that we need into Microsoft Teams. Even if in case you are not working in Microsoft Teams, that's not an issue. Only thing that you need to make sure that you are running version 1.19, and then at the end you have got support for Copilot agent. Okay, and that's it. And we have seen the declarative agent JSON here. That's the only thing that we are going to need. Now that let us go back to the Microsoft 365 agents SDK or agents toolkit that we have got here. Here you can see that I already have logged into my Microsoft 365 account, and I do have Copilot license as well. I'm not going to sign into Azure because I don't need any deployment into the Microsoft Azure. So what we will do simply is we will just click on provision, and then the YAML file that you have seen at the beginning, that is a file which gets triggered here, and then it does all of the trick of deploying all of your artifacts, this manifest, to Microsoft Teams, and from there this agent is available into Microsoft Teams. Okay. And again, from there, it gets extended to the Microsoft 365 Copilot as well. So, okay, so from here you can see that the provisioning has been successful. So with that, let me again go back to my Microsoft 365 portal, open up the Copilot. Okay, and again, for example, if you have been using Microsoft 365 Copilot, you should be aware that we now have got GPT-5. Okay, so you can just click try GPT-5, and now you can see that GPT-5 is turned on. Okay, major thing here is like onto the left hand side, you can see we have our maths agent. Okay, so that was just the quick deployment that we need. Okay, so let's say for example we don't know how to interact with this agent, so I will just say hi, and then it is going to ask us like, are you ready to have a little fun with numbers today? So yeah, we will say yes, and then what it is going to do is it is going to give us some kind of an challenge. Okay, so here we have got challenge like I'm a three-digit number, my tens digit is five more, and all those things. Probably I'm not that good at maths, specifically on the Saturday morning, so probably I will not. I'm not going to go for that, or maybe we will say like give me hint. Okay, so it is going to give the hint, and again this is kind of an very much natural language interaction that I'm going to have with this agent. So again, this is the hint that it has given to us. Probably if in case you know the answer, maybe try to type that into the chat. We will give it to the agent, and then let us see. But one thing which I want to show here is like we have not written any or even a single line of code. Okay, we just instructed this particular agent to be a maths agent. That's it. We did not say like you miss, at least we did not had any kind of a calculation like addition, subtraction, and everything. We just left that to the agent to figure it out and then use that. Okay. So again, for example, if you can, you want to have a relook at it. So this was the project structure that we had got. Nowhere we written even a single line of code, not C sharp, not JavaScript, not Python or anything. This was just the agent behavior that we gave to the agent, and then we were able to do the things. Okay. All right, so that was very simple demo. Now that let us go into some kind of an not complications, but at least some kind of an more advanced features like how you will be able to use. Okay, so now that here you can see that I do have my Microsoft Azure subscription. This is very fresh subscription, so I have not created many things here, but let us go ahead and create Azure OpenAI. Okay, so that is the thing which everyone is more passionate about using nowadays. So let us go ahead and go with Azure OpenAI. So we are going to just provision Azure OpenAI. We are going to deploy one model there, and then we are going to use that model into our application. Okay, so uh, I'm just going to call it as my name, um, pricing tier, and that's it. So this is one of the simplest configuration that we have got when we create the Azure OpenAI resource. No complex kind of an um, calculations or no complex kind of a form, just plain the name of the Azure OpenAI resource that has to be globally unique, and that's it. So now what we are going to do is that once this Azure OpenAI service is ready, it doesn't take more time. It should be ready in 1 or 2 minutes, or maybe even less than that. So we are going to deploy one LLM. So it could be anything. Maybe we can go with GPT 4.0, or even I guess even GPT-5 is ready at this moment. But again, beauty of using Azure OpenAI here is like we are not just bound to only using the models which are available from OpenAI, but all across. Okay, so for example, if in case you want to use DeepSeek model, or if, even if in case you want to use Llama or Hugging Face or from Meta, you can choose your own. Okay, so now that we are into the Azure AI Foundry, and from here at the bottom we have got deployments. Okay, so this is the place where we are going to choose the model, and then we are going to deploy it. So we'll go into the deploy model again. For example, if you have any fine-tuned model, you can use that, or you can go with the deployment of base model. This is the place from where you can select the model and GPT-5. Okay, so GPT-5, which is very much recently launched with few versions like GPT-5 Mini, GPT-5 Nano. So GPT-5 is good for chat completion. So we are going to use that. Okay. So, okay, this is still restricted. I cannot use that. Uh, the registration is needed. I'm yet to submit this request access form. So we'll probably go with GPT-5 mini. Let's confirm that. And then we'll create a resource and get it deployed. Let me just take the name of this resource. Okay, so now that probably I will not go into the very minute details of how the deployment works and everything, but we are going when this deployment is ready, we can uh, chat with this particular model just like we use the chat GPT nowadays, right? So we just simply ask the question about anything that we know, we don't know, or we just want to have another round of verification. We ask those questions to ChatGPT, we get the answer. Similar to that, we are going to have this conversation with GPT-5. And major part is like we are going to see like how we'll be able to use this into be a .NET kind of an agent. Okay, so let this run through. What we are going to do now is that I'm going to go into another machine and then we are going to open up the Visual Studio. Okay, so again, you can build this agent in any of the language that as I mentioned earlier. For example, it could be .NET, it could be TypeScript, even it could be Python, PowerShell, anything. Okay, because this is the SDK that we have got. Now that, for example, if in case you want to see like how to set up your Visual Studio for this kind of a thing, what you can do is here we do have the Visual Studio configuration guide or Visual Studio installer. So you can go into that Visual Studio installer, and then we have got something called as ASP.NET and web development that we'll have to make sure that those are running. So if I go into the modify here, and then inside of that, we have got installation for Microsoft 365 Agents SDK. Okay, so if I open this up, here we do have Microsoft 365 Agent SDK toolkit. Okay, I think I had it installed, but I'm not sure why it is giving me another option to do it. Okay, so let it run in the background, but I know that I had it installed. So let us go ahead and then try to create a new project. Okay, we'll go for creation of a new project here. And what we are going to do is that we are going to create a Microsoft 365 agent using .NET Framework. Okay, let it load, or could be this thing is running. Okay, okay, let us wait for that. But okay, now we have got this ready. Let us go into the agents, search for agents, and then we should be able to see the, oh, let me just go back. I was too quick. So here you can see that we can create Microsoft 365 agents, right? So we will select this option. We will go for next, and then we are going to create it as, let me just choose another folder, maybe C drive demo. Okay, my favorite folder. So here we are just going to create a project name called as Microsoft 365 agent. That's it. And then we will click on create. Okay. Again, this is not just the end of it. So once you click create, you will get a whole lot of options. So for example, there are certain templates available. For example, again, same thing, you want to create a declarative agent that we just have shown you with Node.js and TypeScript. For example, if you want to create it using .NET, you can do that. There is a weather agents available, basic agent available for teams and everything. So that means we have got many things available here that you can use. What we are going to do here is that we are going to use this option agent with API, so that we'll be able to use the model that we just have created. So this is the kind of a framework which will help you to create the agent for teams that can make decision and perform actions based on LLM reasoning. Okay, so that's the reason. So we will go ahead. Again, for example, if you want to build that with Assistant API or from scratch, you can decide. Assistant APIs are just kind of a template that you can use, but we will build them from scratch. Okay, so let us go ahead. This is the place from where you can select your LLM service. Either OpenAI, for example, if you have got your OpenAI key with you, you can use that OpenAI key. Or else, now that we have got Azure OpenAI, so we are going to use Azure OpenAI here. Okay, so now that let us go back to the Azure OpenAI and try to get the information. Okay, so this model has been deployed. So what I will do is probably we will go back to the key and endpoints. Let me just check the things that we need. So we need key and we need the endpoint. Okay, so let us go back. We will need this key. Don't worry, even though, for example, if you see the key, not an issue, I'm going to delete it. Okay. At least it is intelligent enough that it has given all of the mask string. And then we are going to copy this endpoint. Okay. So these are the only two things that we need. And then obviously we need the Azure OpenAI deployment name. So deployment name is the name of the model that we have deployed. So this is the name of the model that we just have deployed, GPT-5 mini. Okay. And again, you should be able to use this key as well as the target URI from here as well. Okay, so let me again go back to the Visual Studio. We will define that Azure OpenAI deployment name, GPT-5 mini, and let us create. Okay, so it is going to create a project which is nothing but our Microsoft 365 agent. Okay, and this one will by default have the okay, this one will have by default configurations which are available from Microsoft 365 Agent SDK. It is intelligent enough backed up by the LLM power of GPT-5. Okay. All right. So maybe, okay. All right. So now that let us go ahead, click create to get this. Okay. Demo already exists. Let me just create another folder here. Demo one. Okay. Oh, this thing closed. All right. Okay, maybe I just have started the Visual Studio installation. That's the reason, but okay. Okay. All right, let me just pause this for a moment. Okay, and then we will again go for Visual Studio. Okay, setup. Quite a tricky situation. It is up to 99%. But okay, so what we will do is until this thing finishes, I will again go back to my previous demo, and then we will see like what are the other things that we can do with that. Okay, so now that again I'm coming back to the uh, we're just creating this agent using the agent SDK in Visual Studio Code. Okay, so again, I do have few of the codes available that probably you will be able to use here. So I do have code samples, Copilot. So these are kind of a declarative agents. Probably rather than building them from scratch, I'm just going to go through them. And then we can just run through them. Okay, because it is just about creating the project, and then the most important part here is the configuration. So we'll go with that configuration. So here you can see that I have got another agent called as the Career Genie, which is a declarative agent that helps to find the matching profiles to HR. Okay. So let's say, for example, we have got this SharePoint document library, and here we have got loads of resumes. Okay, so again those resumes are in a variety of forms. So for example, if you see this resume, this one is not English language. I'm not sure which one is this, but this is definitely not English. Again, we have got another resume. Again, not English. Again, we do miss here. We have got mix of resumes. Few are in English, few are in some other languages as well. Okay, so that means we need some kind of an intelligent capabilities for our HR to process all these languages, irrespective of whatever kind of an um, whatever kind of an language which has been used. So with that, like what we can do is let us go back to the declarative agent that we have got here. And this is the capability which we are adding to the declarative agent. Like we have OneDrive and SharePoint specified here, and this is the URL which is being specified here. Okay, so that means this is the URL where we have got all of the resumes. Now that let us go into the instructions. So in the instructions, I have not specified anything. Simple thing like you are a declarative agent, and then we have got the manifest JSON. So what this particular agent is going to do for us is it is going to go through all of the resumes that we have got, and then it is going to give us the answers. Okay, so let us again go back to the Microsoft 365 agent SDK and click provision. Okay, so we will provision this into Microsoft 365 account which I am logged in with, and then we should be able to see this resume agent there. Okay, so let us wait until this provisioning is happening. Okay, all right, and again this provisioning doesn't take even a minute, so just 15 to 20 seconds, and then this is done. Okay, so to test out this, again, we will have to go back to the Microsoft 365 Copilot. Let us refresh this. And from here, we should have the career genie. Okay, so this is the career genie agent that we have got here. So I will say like, suggest me candidates with maybe experience in SQL. Hopefully, I should have few candidates resumes there with SQL experience. So what this particular agent is going to do is that it is going to connect to SharePoint. So based on the location that we had specified here, it is going to connect to SharePoint, and then it is going to use that index to get the information from that resumes. Okay, so from here you can see that these are all of the candidates who has got SQL experience. So again, this is the indication that this information is coming from the authenticated source, which is our SharePoint. So now, for example, if I click here, you can see that this one is coming from my SharePoint document library. And here you can see that we do have SQL being written, which is one of the one of the core skill of this particular candidate. Okay, so that means we don't need to manually go through all those documents, or probably even we don't need to even write any logic to extract something. So without this kind of an power, what we could have done is we could have scanned through all of the resumes. We could have extracted the major parts from there, maybe using OCR or something else, and then we could have stored them somewhere and we queried them. But now that with the agent power, we don't need to do that. It just creates the index for it and then it works with that. All right, so with that, again, let's try to go back to this, and hopefully this is done now. So let me again go back to the Visual Studio based thing. Okay, and from the Visual Studio, what we are going to do is we are going to again create that agent which is now talking to the LLM. Okay, so that means not only limited to the Copilot licensing, but again, you can use this one. Okay, let me. Okay, right. So what we are going to do is, okay, looks like Visual Studio is not with me to get this done. Okay, so let me just go for create a new project. So I'm just creating a new project and let me just sign out from here. Just give me a moment. Let me quickly sign in with my credential, or probably it is going to take some time, but okay, maybe what we can do is we can skip this demo, maybe a Visual Studio based one, and we will again go back to the Visual Studio Code. Okay, so let me just again go back to the Visual Studio Code and show you the demo. So we are again back to the Visual Studio Code. So what we are going to do is again I will go into the Microsoft 365 here. Same steps you can follow in Visual Studio as well. Okay, so we will go into the Microsoft 365 agent toolkit here, and then we are going to create another agent. So we'll again create a new agent, and here from here we are going to select this custom engine agent. Okay, so again we do have the basic custom engine agent that we are going to select, and here again you see the options that we saw into the Visual Studio as well, like Azure OpenAI and OpenAI. So we'll click on Azure OpenAI, and now that it needs the service key um, to be set here. Okay, so what we are going to do is that we will again go back to the Azure OpenAI, and this is the key that we have got. We will copy it and we will give it here. Okay, so this is service key that we have got. Now that it needs the Azure endpoint, which we are again going to fetch from here. So this is the endpoint that we have got. We will again go back here. We will put this endpoint here, and then what we need is the deployment name. Okay, same steps that we have seen into the Visual Studio. Okay, so the GPT-5 Mini is our deployment name. So that deployment name we are going to give here, GPT-5 Mini. Again, this one is the Visual Studio Code. So either we have to choose TypeScript or JavaScript. So we'll click TypeScript. We will click Browse, and probably I will create another folder here, calling it as the OpenAI agent. Okay, and we'll click on Select. Okay, and we're just going to call it as a OpenAI agent. That's it. Okay, so now even with this kind of an very basic setup, our agent is pretty much ready. So now again, for example, if I go into the infra, this is the place which you can see to install or have our bot registration done to the Microsoft Azure. Even we do have got environment files here to work locally with the dev environment as well as into the customer environment as well. Okay, so these are kind of an things that we need. So the Node.js supported versions are 18, 20, 22. I already have 22 installed. I do have the agents toolkit installed, and again I do have the OpenAI resource that we have created. So this is just the file that we'll have to go through, and then for example, if I go into here, it has already noted down all of my credentials. So what simply we can do is we can go ahead and try to run this from here. Okay, so from here even we can run this into the Microsoft 365 agent playground. So this is nothing but the local playground wherein you will be able to test it out without getting deployed to the Azure, because whenever you will deploy to Azure, maybe debugging will not be that easy. So that's the reason we do have got this local playground here. Okay, so with which you will be able to see how it works. Again, this is kind of a three-step process that you can see which is going on into the background. So what it will do is it will install all of the dependencies, because this one is a npm, so it is going to do the npm install for all of the packages which are needed for this solution to run. And then once that npm install is done, it is going to run or execute the npm run command to run this particular agent, and then that agent will be open into the Microsoft 365 agent playground. Okay, and from there we'll be able to see how it works. Okay, so let us wait until we have it done. Okay, so here you can see that it is still going through the npm install, and then once this particular process has been finished, it will open up our Microsoft 365 agent playground, and then from there we will be able to see it how it works. Okay, so let us wait. It is still working. Mm, okay, now you can see that this one is at the second stage of the deployment out of three. Well, the only reason like why this one is taking time is because this one has got the npm installation. Okay, while it is deploying, let me again go back and show it to you. Like here we have got all those node modules which are getting installed with this npm install. Here we have got the src or the source folder. So for example, if you go into the index.ts, this is the place where you will see when the agent will start. This will greet the user, and then this is the place wherein we will have the listening for the incoming request for this agent. Okay, so that means here probably you can have some kind of a code or maybe some kind of an capabilities how you want this particular llm to process the request. Okay, because now that this is a declarative agent, but still this has got the capability of the LLM. So that means even if in case you want to intercept this request, make some modification, those things are possible from here. And again, we do have config TS, which is directly reading out your configurations that you have written there. And okay, now that we can see that the success message for everything, and now it should open up the agent playground for us. Okay, so here you can see that it is starting the application, and this application is nothing but the agent playground. Okay, so this one is starting the agent playground. Once that task is completed, we should be able to see the present agent playground. We have not written any code or we have not done any customization, but where it will help us is like, for example, when you have your fine-tuned models. Okay, so here you can see that we do have this test agent. So here you can ask any question. Okay, so let's say for example, maybe okay, or maybe we will ask about like tell me about M365 Agents SDK. Okay, and then this is nothing but the GPT-5 mini which is running into the background. Okay, there is something wrong with my source code. At least we haven't written any code, but there is something wrong with the source code. So maybe let me just try to say hi. It should return hi. Okay, something wrong with the code here. But okay, until unless even I show you failed demos, even you will not believe that everything works. So it is one of that demo. So only thing here is like from here you should be able to get everything. Uh, the only reason like why I think this is not working is probably because of the okay, here we do have my open API key and everything specified here, but again I need to debug through it to find out why it is not working. But in the ideal situation, this agent playground will help you to run the code, okay, and as well as even it will help you to test out your model before you get it deployed to the Microsoft 365 agent. Okay, so these were kind of a quick demos. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to show you the demos that we have got for Microsoft, oh sorry, with Visual Studio, but hopefully that gave you idea like how that could have worked with Visual Studio as well. All right, so with that, let's quickly go into the core architecture components and then wrap up the session.
Yeah, so Microsoft 365 Agents SDK is built around a modular architecture that allow the developer to design, extend, and deploy the intelligent agents within the Microsoft 365. So at a high level, the architecture brings together AI reasoning, Microsoft Graph integrations, and the user interaction surfaces, then the extensibility through the tools and the APIs. So let's see some of these key components and how to they interact for that one. So the first one is the agent framework, the brain and the conductor. So what is exactly? So it turns the user request into a plan of steps, decide which tools to call and in what order. So catalog of safe actions the agent is allowed to perform, like let's say for example create a planner task, read calendar, call the any of these API. Then it has the state and memory, so short term conversation state and optional long term preferences, the policy, and then the formatting layer. And then what it matters, it converts the natural language into these reliable actions. Let me check what I am just getting my echo, just a moment. Yeah, the second one is the communication layer. So in that there are the channel adapters for where the people work, and then the Microsoft Graph access for the data and actions across the mail, calendar files, Teams, Planner, SharePoint, and many more. We have a connectors and the webhooks to the external systems. This transport concerns like a token exchange with the Microsoft Intra ID also. So what it matters is moves these messages and the data securely between the users, Microsoft 365, the agents, and your line of business system with these compliances. Then we have the third one is for the AI services, the reasoning and the understanding. So there are the LLM runtime for the intent detection, summarization, planning, and the tool selection. We have a RAG, we have vector store, then the safety filters and telemetry also. So we have all these things. So with that, let's go ahead and check our next point for the integration with Microsoft 365 services. So Microsoft 365 Agents SDK is designed to work seamlessly with Microsoft 365 ecosystem, ensuring the agents can operate naturally inside the tools people already use every day for the seamless service integrations. And like for example the SDK connects directly with the productivity and the collaboration apps like Teams, Outlook, SharePoint, enhance the real-time collaboration. Agent can participate in a live work scenarios, also summarizing the chat, organizing this task in planner, or sending updates in Outlook. Then the contextual agent support, so by pulling the data and insight from the Microsoft Graph, agents understand the context like a recent file conversation, upcoming meetings also. So our next thing about this security and compliance consideration. So security and compliance are at the heart of the Microsoft 365 Agents SDK, ensuring that the intelligent agents operate safely within the enterprise environments. So in short, the SDK ensures that the agents are not only intelligent, but they are also secure, privacy aware, and compliant, making them suitable for the enterprise adoption also. So it contains the authentication mechanism, authorization controls, data privacy protection, and the compliance standards also. So when it's come to this building the intelligence agents with the SDK, so the Microsoft 365 SDK provides a structured framework for the developers to create the intelligence agents that can understand the natural language, access the Microsoft 365 data, and perform the meaningful actions for the users. Building such agents involves the combining the AI reasoning, Microsoft Graph integration, and custom business logic into one seamless experience. So when it's come to this creating these conversational agents, so the conversational agents built with the Microsoft 365 Agents SDK are designed to interact the naturally with the users, making them feel more like a digital teammates than the traditional bots. So it involves this NLP, natural language processing, context aware interaction, cognitive service integration. So, in short summary, that the conversational agents use the NLP for the natural dialogues, context awareness for the relevance, and cognitive services for the smart decisions, enabling them to deliver the personalized and intelligent assistance within a Microsoft 365. So enabling this automation and the workflow integration. So one of the biggest strength of the Microsoft 365 agents. So has the ability to simplify this repetitive work, and fits seamlessly into this existing opportunity. So let's go ahead and check for some of these use cases for this one. So the Microsoft 365 Agents SDK can be applied to the wide range of business needs, making everyday work smarter and more efficient. So some of the use case like HR onboarding, so agent can guide you the new employees through the setup of sharing the policies, scheduling the training session, and adding them to your team's group. IT support, a help desk agent can automate the password resets, licensing assignments, or escalate unresolved tickets. When it's come to the sales and CRMs, agent can spool this customer information from the CRM system, summarize the email threads, and prepare the meeting insights in the Outlook or the Teams. For the project management, agents can track the deadlines, assign the task in planner, and notify the teams in real time about the progress of the task. So best practices are the start with the small one, focus on one clear use case before expanding to the broader workflows. Leverage the context. You can use the Microsoft graph data to make the responses more relevant. Prioritize the security. Always apply the least privilege permission and follow the compliance requirements. Design for the user. So make interactions conversationals using these adaptive cards for the clarity. Monitor and improvements. So collect the telemetry, analyze the feedback, and redefine the agent behaviors continuously. So with that, we would like to give you some of the tips for these effective agents with Microsoft 365 Agent SDK requires the focusing of the user needs, clarity, as well as for the adaptability. So use centric design. Always start with the user. Agent should be designed to solve the real-time problem, simplifying the task, and enhance the overall experience rather than just showcasing the technical capabilities. Then we should have the clear intent that the agent must have well defined, easy to understand the intent so the user know exactly what the agent can do. Contextual awareness and effective agents adapt the responses based on the user's environment and the history. For example, it can suggest the documents recently shared in the teams or the scheduled meeting considering the user's availability. Continuous learning. So agents should evolve over the time. So in short, the best design agents are the user focused, clear in purpose, context aware, and continuously improving.
All right, so with that, let's get to the last part of the session, the conclusion. So we have seen like Microsoft 365 Agent SDK. It empowers the developers to build intelligent agent specifically designed for Microsoft 365 environment. So these agent they bring the real value by automating the repetitive kind of a task. And again, it is not just limited to Microsoft 365, but you can get the data from outside. We have also seen like how we can integrate with the Azure OpenAI agents that we have got there as well. Then again, by focusing on the enhanced productivity, agent can reduce the manual effort, which allow user to spend more time onto the meaningful work. And then finally, through integrated agent solutions, SDK will help you ensure that these agents they fit naturally within the Microsoft 365 apps. For example, Microsoft Teams, Outlook, SharePoint, as well as Microsoft Agent or Copilot chat as well. Okay. So with that, thank you very much for joining us today. Hopefully that gives you some good insights about how to use the agents, how to create them. So yeah, miss, use the agent. Let us know your feedback, and these are our social media handles. If in case you want to get in touch with us for further discussion. Once again, thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for joining us today. And hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much, Nanddeep. Thank you, Smita.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, it was an insightful session. Thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Guys, I have posted the LinkedIn handles. If you have any queries, please get in touch with them related to the topic. Thank you.